All right, let's get into it. If you've spent any time working on the web, you've definitely heard of Nginx. And yeah, you probably think of it as just a web server. You're not wrong, but that's like calling a Swiss Army knife just a knife. Nginx is this absolute monster hiding in plain sight, and today we're going to pull back the curtain on what it really does.
Just to give you a sense of scale here, Nginx powers over a third of all web servers on the entire internet. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a staggering number. It's the engine humming behind so many of the websites and apps you use every single day.
So, what if I told you that its most famous job is actually one of its least interesting? What if this tool you thought you knew could replace like half a dozen other services in your stack? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out.
To really get why Nginx is such a big deal, we got to go back to the beginning. See, it wasn't created just to be another web server. It was born out of necessity to solve a really specific, really tough problem. You have to remember, back in the early 2000s, trying to handle 10,000 connections at the same time, well, it would just bring most servers to their knees. It was called the C10K problem, and it was a huge bottleneck for the web as it was trying to grow up. So in 2002, this Russian developer, Igor Sisoev, built Nginx specifically to crush the C10K problem. And it did, big time. Its journey since then has been wild. A commercial company was formed, then there was this massive $670 million acquisition by F5, and now there's even a new community fork, making sure its open source soul lives on.
Okay, so we've established it's a fantastic web server, but its first, and probably most famous secret identity, is being the ultimate reverse proxy. And this one function is the foundation for pretty much everything else it can do.
So what on earth is a reverse proxy? The best way to think about it is like a receptionist for your web services. A user makes a request to Nginx, and Nginx, the receptionist, figures out which internal department or service should actually handle that request. It then goes, gets the response, and brings it back to the user who never even knows what's going on behind the scenes. It's a hugely powerful idea in web architecture.
And you know, the real beauty here is the simplicity. With just one simple command, proxy pass, you can tell Nginx, hey, any traffic that comes to the /API path, send it over to our API server. And any traffic for /app, send it to the web app. It's clean, it's simple, and it just works.
So being a great receptionist is one thing, but Nginx is also an absolute master of efficiency. It's an engine that's just built for speed and for massive, massive scale, with features that go way beyond just pointing traffic in the right direction. One of its killer features is caching. So instead of bothering your main application for the same piece of content over and over again, Nginx can just keep a copy and serve it directly from its own memory or disk. This makes your site feel way faster and takes a huge load off your actual servers.
You can actually see this happening if you look at the response headers. The very first time someone asks for something, you'll see a miss. Nginx had to go to the backend to get it. But every single request after that, bam, a hit. It's served instantly from the cache. That is a total game changer for performance. Now, what if your responses are just big? Sending massive chunks of data over the internet is slow. It's expensive. The solution? Compression. And as the source material puts it so perfectly, Nginx is an absolute monster compressor. I mean, just look at this. By just flipping a switch to enable GZIP compression, Nginx can shrink the size of what it's sending on the fly. We're talking about reducing the data by over 30 times in some cases. That's a massive win for bandwidth and for how fast the page feels to the user. And of course, we have to talk about load balancing. When your traffic really starts to pick up, you can't rely on just one server. You need a whole fleet of them. Load balancing is the art of spreading the work across that fleet, and Nginx is one of the best conductors in the business.
Its default method is just beautifully simple. It's called round robin. The first request comes in, it goes to server A. The next one, server B. The third one goes back to A, and on it goes. It just cycles through the list, making sure everyone gets a fair share of the work. It can do way more complex stuff, but honestly, this simple approach is often all you need. All right, so Nginx makes our apps fast, and it helps them scale, but it can also make them secure. It can act as this powerful guardian, standing right at the edge of your network and protecting all your important services on the inside.
This is a really big one in modern systems. Nginx can work as a full-on API gateway. You can set up rules like, hey, this user can only make 10 requests a minute. This protects your backend APIs from being overwhelmed, whether it's by accident or on purpose. It's a critical security layer.
And this might be its most important security job of all, SSL termination. That's the S in HTTPS, the encryption that keeps everything secure. Now, instead of making every single one of your backend apps do the hard, CPU-intensive work of encryption and decryption, you just let Nginx handle it at the front door. It deals with all the secure stuff and then passes simple, unencrypted traffic internally. It's way more efficient and 1,000,000 times easier to manage.
Nginx was born in a time of physical servers, but it has adapted beautifully to this new world of cloud computing and containers. You could even argue it's more relevant today than it's ever been.
I mean, this slide right here, this says it all. According to Docker's own data, Nginx is the single most deployed piece of technology in containers, period. Its small size and incredible versatility make it the perfect tool for microservices and modern applications. And this is exactly why. Just look at these numbers. You can get a fully functional Nginx server in a Docker image that is only 12 megabytes. 12! For all that power we just talked about, the reverse proxy, the load balancer, the cache, the API gateway, it's absolutely wild. So, let's just put it all together. Nginx isn't just one thing. It's your web server, it's your reverse proxy, your load balancer, your content cache, your API gateway, and your SSL terminator, all rolled into one super efficient, battle-tested package.
The source material we've been looking at puts it perfectly. At the end of the day, when you pack all of this functionality into such a performant piece of software, well, Nginx is a wild beast.
And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. After seeing all the different hats this thing can wear, take a minute to look at your own projects, your own infrastructure. What part of your stack could this beast simplify?